Well, welcome tonight. Welcome to St. Timothy's if you're new here. This is not your faith community, or if this is a new experience for you, I'm glad you're here tonight with us. Tonight's gospel is part of the Passion of Jesus. But often this section of the Passion is given very little emphasis during Holy Week. This section is often only used as transitional narrative to move us to the actual death of Jesus. On Sunday, we participated in a group narrative of the Passion. We shouted, "Crucify Him," a couple of times. And last night at our service, we moved just in front of the Passion in chronological time to the last meal Jesus had had with His closest friends. From there, Jesus pulled an all-nighter, part of it in prayer, part of it arrested. We all have images of the crucifixion because we all have lived in the window of time that we have moving pictures, movies and videos. And with Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, and the cable channels realizing that they can get a lot of advertising money to be doing Passion specials this time of year, we have images burned into our memories of the crucifixion. We have some sort of horrific graphic image thanks to these moving pictures. So I decided that we should look at something a bit different for this service. I'm always reminded of this when I sit with someone who has just lost a loved one. They almost always work back from the moment of death and look at the meaning of it all in words and actions leading up to that moment when their loved one took their last breath. So part of the Passion reading tonight is this conversation between Pilate, the Roman governor, and Jesus of Nazareth. And if you were listening to the words from John's Gospel, you recognize that in the midst of this social control and persecution that Jesus was going through, in the midst of this madness, Jesus is actually moving the moment naturally back to God's love. Even in the midst of this high drama, Jesus moves the moment back to God's love for us. Jesus had been taken into custody by Jewish leaders and had already been tried 3 separate trials over the course of this long night. Now, it was the habit back then for the Roman officials to get to the offices early, around 6 a.m., so that they could take care of business, and then they would be able to head off to the spas and the games for the balance of the day. Well, they know this pattern well, the Jewish leaders, so they made sure that they got Jesus to Pilate at the Roman executive offices in Jerusalem before 7 a.m. Jesus had been up all night. He had been through all the pushing and the pulling, the noise, the accusations, the pointing of fingers. The encounter with Pilate came to a climax when he asked Jesus if he claimed to be the king of the Jews, as the Jewish leaders had said. And Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not recognized in this world. I have been born to come into the cosmos, to determine the power of truth." Jesus tells Pilate his kingdom is not of this world, and that those who belong to the truth listen to the voice. Pilate asked then the question of the ages: what is truth? We live in the age now when truth is considered relative or subjective, meaning truth is whatever you think it is or whatever works for you. I hear it often. Well, that's your truth, but that's not my truth. Sort of like fingerprints, I guess. The definition of truth is conformity to the original. Truth derives from the original, or rather, the originator. If we go back to the opening of John's Gospel, it tells us that in the beginning, before time itself was measured, from before the Big Bang, that the voice was speaking. The voice of the originator. Yet the voice seemed so far away, perhaps of vital importance, but still very far away. It was hard to connect to a concept of the voice. What had existed from the beginning became personal, though, and reachable, and was able to move all of humanity to a personal connection when Jesus came. Because Jesus was touchable, knowable, seeable, lovable. See, the truth isn't yours. The truth isn't mine. It's not relative or subjective. Truth isn't something that belongs to me or belongs to you. Truth is something you belong to, or more accurately, someone that you belong to. John's emphasis in this part of the Passion is that finally, truth has been found. Truth has been revealed, and revealed in Jesus. And the more we seek out truth, and the more we try and pour truth into us, the more we're left with belonging to the truth, which means we belong to Jesus, connecting us to love in and through God, the voice. But we belong to Jesus and to this kingdom of heaven in a different way than we belong to our family or our church or our fitness center or anything else that's of this world. Truth is found when we are transformed through Jesus, and we become an altogether new creation, as Paul wrote. And Paul went as far as to say, when we become a new creation, that we will have the mind of Christ. Jesus was able to experience the truth even in the midst of the Pharisees. He saw the truth in the real woman behind the label of Samaritan. He saw the truth as he looked at the thief on the cross with him in paradise. And that should help us to know that we will often recognize the truth in some unlikely places. What the mystery of the truth teaches us is how to stand against hate without ever becoming hateful. The mystery of the truth instructs us that we can oppose evil without becoming evil ourselves. The truth helps us manage life's paradoxes, and to manage life's paradoxes with hope and not despair. Because life's paradox is that sometimes it doesn't go our way. Sometimes good people struggle. Sometimes good people are harmed. And bad things do happen to good people. But the truth is still there, up close and personal, if we are touching and listening and seeing and loving as the extension of the truth to others, as the hands and face of Jesus. The truth is that it's often found in this simple thing we do every service of taking the Eucharist. We are nourished by Jesus so that Jesus can come out of us. This mystery of the truth helps us to navigate through the clumsiness of community and helps us to see revealed in others the face of Christ. Jesus died, Christ arose, and when Christ arose and revealed truth for all of time, and Christ transformed now and the not yet. Our kingdom is not of this world, and those who belong to the truth listen to the voice.